How's it going, Pokemon fans? CJ back from JollyMonz YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be covering another one of the decks that made top 8 at the London International. This time, it's not going to be the most exciting one. It's been around for a while. We all kind of know about it. Volcanion. Another name I'm probably just going to butcher. Eemeli Reijonen. I'm sorry, I don't know how. I'm not good with foreign names. I admit it. I'm not going to hide it. He played Volcanion. Not something I really expected to see, but I'm not really that upset about it. I like Volcanion. It's a decent deck. Pretty linear, which is why some people might find it a bit boring. But I prefer just having one goal and just going for that one goal. Well, I guess this one is a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not as linear. You got some different options. But of course, we got one of the main cards of the deck, Volcanion-EX. Once per turn, before you attack, you can discard a fire energy from your hand. If you do, your basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's actually relevant wording. And then its attack, 2 fire, 1 colorless, 130. This Pokemon can attack your next turn. It's fine. It's probably not the Pokemon we'll be attacking with most of the time anyway. One of the main attackers is Volcanion, the non-EX. 1 fire energy, 20 damage. Choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a fire energy from your discard pile to each of those Pokemon. These will usually, you discard fire energy with this, make your fire attack stronger, use Power Heater, put them back into play, and there's your energy acceleration, and you're doing extra damage. And then second attack, not used often, but can come in handy. Steam Artillery, 3 fire energy, does 100 damage. And the thing you gotta remember about this deck is your damage can always be pumped up to 30 or 60 more because of the Volcanion-EXs. So you can hit some pretty ridiculous numbers because of that. Probably the best attacker of this deck in my opinion. This is great for getting you set up early on, but then this is both of these attacks are just fantastic. Turtonator GX, 190 HP, that can be relevant sometimes. 2 colorless, Shell Trap, 20 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, you put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Now, of course, with Volcanion-EX, you can be doing 50 damage, 80 damage. You can get pretty up there. The dream scenario, you have this in the active, 4 Volcanions on the bench, that's 140 damage. Anything attacking you is taking 80 damage. If it's the same Pokemon, you're probably knocking it out, because let's see, 120 plus 80, that's 200 damage. Okay, well, you're not knocking out most things, but obviously that's the dream scenario, won't happen that often. But the main thing is you're bumping this up to doing 80, 120, no, 110. Am I doing math right? Yeah, 80 or 110. And then if it gets attacked, it deals even more damage with the ability. And the secondary attack, which is the biggest, no, correction, it is not the biggest attack in the deck. Bright Flame, 2 fire, 1 colorless, 160, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Also has a very usable GX attack. Nitro Tank, 1 fire, attach 5 fire energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So one of the great things about this deck is that you can just always get your energy back from the discard. With Volcanion, with Turtonator's GX attack, you can just constantly bring back your energy. So sure, you can just keep throwing away your energy, you start to run a little low, but then all of a sudden, boom, here's all your energy back. So that's one of the things I like about this deck. It's hard for you to run out of energy. Obviously it can happen, but that's this one. I think I pretty much covered everything I need to. With Bright Flame, 1 steam up, you hit 190. 1 more, that's 220. You need 160. You need 3 steam ups to knock out Gardevoir without any items. We play Fighting Fury Belt. I'm just going to go ahead and say that now. So Bright Flame, 160 plus the 10 from Fighting Fury Belt, plus 2 steam ups, that's 230, knocks out a Gardevoir. So you can hit some pretty decent numbers with that. Another pretty good card, Ho-OGX. First attack, Sacred Fire, 1 fire, 2 colorless. Does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I thought it was only bench Pokemon, so you can do 50 damage to anything on the board. If you're attacking the active with this, you can use Steam Up, make it do 80, 10, so on and so forth. And then Phoenix Burn, the strongest attack in the deck. 4 energy, basically. 180, but this Pokemon can't use Phoenix Burn in the next turn, which is fine because Sacred Fire is still a pretty good attack. Especially remember that you can attack the active. I'll play some games just before recording this, and I don't think I ever used this to attack the active ones, but whatever. It's probably better to just like set up some easy knockouts later on. The GX attack probably won't be used that much. Put 3 in any combination of fire Pokemon, any fire GX Pokemon or fire EX from your discard pile into your bench. Especially since it's only from the discard, you probably won't even be using this that much. Might as well just ignore this. I mean, there might be like some niche scenarios where you want to use this, but I think most of the time you'll just want to use Nitro Tank. One Oranguru, just because, you know, we don't have too many Pokemon in here. We have a couple spots to spare. Oranguru's a pretty good card. Prevents us from like getting knocked down to, well, it helps push through ends to like 2 or 1. Because you can just drop till you have 3. That's a pretty good ability. And the attack can be relevant sometimes. You just put 3 energy on this with like Nitro Tank or with Power Heater. You can use Psychic, 3 energy, 60 plus 20 for each energy on your opponent's active. So that's not a bad attack. Don't forget about this card. You can use it attack sometimes. And then of course 2 Lele. Lele is just a really good card. We won't really have the typical starting play with Lele where you go grab Bridget, but probably like the main turn 1 play with Lele we have with this is our one of Kiawe. Just, especially if you're going first and you can't attack first turn anyway, you just play Lele, grab this, and just like throw 4 energies on a Ho-Oh, or throw 4 energies on a Turtonator, and it's good stuff. Some of the other supporters we play a pretty simple supporter lineup in this deck. I say we, as if it's my list. I keep forgetting I'm covering someone else's deck list. He played 4 Guzma, of course. 4 Guzma, just a really good card. Kind of just a staple here. Same with the N and the Sycamore. You play N when you want a new hand but don't want to discard anything. Or if you just want to put your opponent down to 1 or 2 cards. They're picking up more prizes than you. Or you have the Sycamore, ditch your hand, draw 7. Pretty self-explanatory. Some of the items he put into the deck. Of course, 4 Ultra Ball. This card's amazing. Search for any Pokemon you need at the time. 1 switch, because your opponent has some. What am I saying? Your opponent? Your Pokemon have some pretty hefty retreat costs. Volcanion has 3. The other Volcanion has 2, Turtonator has 3, Ho has 2, I believe. Yeah. And then Oranguru has 2. So on of switch is pretty handy. Situations where you have a Pokemon stuck in the active and it doesn't have any energy ready to attack, you can just do that. There's a one of Super Rod. Normally decks would be playing Rescue Stretcher, but for this you probably at some point need to put your energies back. You're throwing them around like crazy, discarding them with Steam Up, discarding them with Bright Flame. So, you want this in here to reload your energies. 3 Max Elixir. I know the decks used to play 4. Maybe they still play 4, but Emily preferred 3. And I can kind of see why. Actually, I mean, it feels like in the games I played, it seemed fine. Like I never really needed the 4th one. Actually, I never even really needed the Max Elixirs. They were just nice to have. Well, I mean, there's probably situations where you need the Max Elixirs. So, like, they're good to have, but you don't need them. Well, I'm not going to say you don't need them. They're good to have. They're good in this deck. Play 3, 4. I think that's one of those things that just comes down to personal preference. Because eventually you're going to start messing with them, like later on in the game, when you have a bunch of energy on your board. Drawing a Max Elixir, like, turn 8, 9, 10, doesn't really do you anything. Field Blower. your effects are pretty relevant. Of course, talking about Garbodor, you want to be able to use Steam Up, use Instruct. You can also just use it to get rid of... Why do I have a hair sticking up back here? I don't like it. Is that better? Okay. Get rid of Choice Bands, get rid of Fighting Fury Belts, knock an item off Garbodor so you can Steam Up some more. Pretty relevant card. You want more than one. Again, I love the fact that people are now playing double Enhanced Hammer. Like, I love this card. I actually just love hammers in general. They're some of my favorite cards in the game. Yeah, 2 Enhanced Hammer, there's a lot of special energy running around right now. Strong energy, double colorless mostly. And then that's all the items. Well, there's the tools down here. 2 Floatstone, because, you know, we got big retreat cost. And then 4 Fighting Fury Belts, just to make your Pokemon live a little bit longer. You don't really need Choice Band because you have Steam Up to buff up your attacks, so might as well just go ahead and buff up your HP. Am I right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a relatively simple deck. Still good though. But that's going to be all for this video. I'm going to go and grab some games with it. A link to that will be down in the description, so be sure to check that out when you're done here. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, stay jolly.